if you put them together in the ring with me, maybe it's gonna
Maybe both together.
maybe it's gonna
it's
be
tough.
a little complicated.
Tyson on there, and there's in the top 15 is only one guy who is still active and still fighting, and that one guy is Canelo Alvarez.
The undisputed super middleweight champion, Canelo Alvarez, didn't hold back, suggesting that his influence, legacy, and financial trajectory have surpassed even the most legendary figures in boxing history. Building on that, Canelo Alvarez's business manager, Richard Schaefer, made headlines by claiming Canelo's resume is on par with legends like Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather. He went further, stating that a potential Canelo versus Terrence Crawford fight would be the biggest ever, even surpassing the massive Canelo versus Mayweather showdown in 2013. According to Schaefer, it would be a generational clash destined to make history.
But again, he's never fought anybody like Canelo. You look at Canelo's resume. Canelo fought, now it's 21 former or current world champions. There's only 2 fighters in the history of boxing who have more than that. One of them is Floyd Mayweather with 24, and the other one is Manny Pacquiao with 23. Well, you look at Canelo's resume, but it is, I think, the biggest fight that can be made. I think it's the biggest fight the sport has seen going back to as long as I can remember. I think it's just simple. And I've done some big fights with Floyd Mayweather, and I did Floyd Mayweather and Canelo. I promoted that, so I think this one is bigger than that.
Well, I tell you one thing, Canelo is no Madrimov. Canelo has the best chin in boxing, no question about it. Has never been dropped, never been hurt, and it's going to be challenging for Crawford to really hurt Canelo. And so I think it's going to be a fascinating match. It's going to be the biggest fight in modern history. I think I was fortunate to promote back in the day Mayweather and Canelo, and I think this one is going to be substantially bigger.
Furthermore, Richard pointed to a recent BoxRec all-time rankings list, which analyzed the greatest pound-for-pound fighters in the history of the sport. The list featured legends like Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin Hagler, and Mike Tyson, but Schaefer highlighted that out of the top 15, only one active fighter made the cut, Canelo Alvarez. For Schaefer, it's yet another testament to Canelo's enduring greatness and elite standing in boxing history.
At their prime, I mean, Canelo still is the best pound-for-pound fighter. There is no question about it. And I just told you why, because he fought all these former world champions. BoxRec came out a couple weeks ago with an interesting list, with a pound-for-pound list historically, looking at the entire history of the sport. People like Sugar Ray Leonard on there, you see Joe Louis on there, you see Hagler on there, you see Tyson on there, and there's in the top 15 is only one guy who is still active and still fighting, and that one guy is Canelo Alvarez.
However, not everyone is convinced. Boxing Ego is not buying Richard Schaefer's claims about Crawford versus Canelo surpassing Manny versus Floyd in drawing power or selling power. He argues that Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather are rare anomalies, true legends whose achievements, like Pacquiao's 8-division titles, aren't easily replicated. According to Boxing Ego, no fight, including Crawford versus Canelo, is likely to reach those historic numbers anytime soon.
If that wasn't bad enough, he compared it to Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao and says it can do equal business, if not surpass and exceed that particular fight. And I call cap. You have 2 legends of the sport, 2 guys who are anomalies in the sport, meaning what they've accomplished is not going to happen for a while. Like Pacquiao being an 8-division champion. I want to sub to my promoter. Floyd Mayweather, without Pacquiao, was doing 1 million+ buys in several fights and putting on the biggest events in boxing. February 32nd is when he did 1 million pay-per-view buys. It's never happened. He has never done 1 million pay-per-view buys by himself. Now, fighting Canelo, you're going to get your best number. I don't doubt that. But how are we going to compare to Mayweather and Pacquiao when I just explained to you They came from a different era, and individually during that era, Manny Pacquiao, I want to my party by that one, right? He was doing $1 million or close to $1 million in several fights.
On another note, Mike Tyson named Canelo Alvarez as his pound-for-pound best, but acknowledged that the Mexican superstar is nearing the end of his career. Tyson expressed strong interest in seeing a showdown between Canelo and David Benavidez, urging that Canelo should give the undefeated contender a shot.
Tough, there's a couple of them out there. You have to go with Canelo, but there's still so many, the young up-and-coming lightweights. Canelo's almost on his way out. They got some other guy. And what Benavidez, he's a great fighter coming up. He'll be great, man. There's so many great fighters out there, man. But that's one thing they have, is great fighters out there. It's some new guys out there. There's the young man David Benavidez.
Yeah.
I call him the monster. He's tough. I would love to see Canelo fight him.
Meanwhile, Floyd Mayweather praised Canelo Alvarez as a hell of a fighter, acknowledging that Canelo has already proven himself with a stellar resume. However, Mayweather also addressed growing concerns about Canelo's recent performances, noting that many believe he's no longer looking like the same fighter. He emphasized that boxing is a brutal sport with constant wear and tear, and sometimes fighters can grow old overnight, a reality even the greats like Canelo cannot escape. He also threw some shade that Canelo was very easy for him to fight when he fought him the first time.
What I have to say to Canelo is this. You proved yourself already. You proved yourself. You fought a lot of great fighters. You tested yourself. You went up in weight to numerous weight classes. Like myself and like other fighters throughout the years. Same thing with Pacquiao. You know, Canelo is a great fighter.
Canelo's a hell of a fighter. There's a lot of great Mexican fighters. That's not for me to rate fighters. I just take my hat off to so many fighters that paved the way, you know, for me to be where I'm at, just, you know, throughout life.
Canelo is a hell of a fighter. He's a hell of a fighter. And everyone is now saying that he's not the same fighter. He's not looking the same.
His next fight coming up is going to be with...
It's a lot of wear and tear. Boxing is a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah. Yeah. And those guys are younger.
Yeah.
And hungrier.
Boxing is a lot of wear and tear. You can get old overnight. You can. It's how boxing is. These same writers out here, they praise Canelo. He can pick and choose who he want to fight. And I'm going to tell y'all the truth about Canelo. Motherfucker, easy, man. Cakewalk, easy. Y'all sitting up here, y'all praising this dude. This dude was nothing. I was almost 40 years old when I cooked this dude. Easy.
Not one to stay silent, Alvarez fired back at Mike Tyson's recent comments, dismissing the heavyweight legend's opinion by taking a sharp jab at his past. Canelo stated that he would only value Tyson's viewpoint if Tyson were a sober man, clearly discrediting Tyson's stance on the Benavidez fight and adding tension between the two boxing icons. The response adds another layer of drama to the ongoing debate surrounding Canelo's career trajectory and his refusal to face Benavidez.
Respect their opinions, like Mike Tyson saying it. Do you respect his opinion, or how do you feel about like Mike Tyson?
I respect his opinion if he fights sober. When you guys asking me for Golovkin and I fight with Golovkin and then Callum Smith and then Billy Joe Saunders and then Caleb Plant and then so never is enough for you guys. But I don't need to prove anything to anybody anymore. I've been done everything in my career.
Adding to his confidence, according to Canelo, if he were put in the ring alongside legends like Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather, he would still outshine them. Acknowledging that it might get a little complicated, Canelo remained confident, stating it would be nothing he couldn't handle. His comments further underline his belief that he stands above even the sport's most iconic names, both past and present.
Mike Tyson or Jake Paul? In a hypothetical scenario, who do you think would be tougher for you?
I think if you put them together in the ring with me, maybe it's gonna...
Maybe both together?
Maybe it's gonna be
tough?
a little complicated.
But one or the other, they're about the same, you think?
Time, yeah.
They're the same, you think, for you?
It's hard to say, but you know, it's risky for Mike Tyson.
Really?
For
Why?
sure. Yeah, because he's 57 and 58, I don't know. And boxing is it's not a joke. That's what I train. I train to don't get so much hit.
Yeah, you're very good. Defense is amazing.
Defense. I train so much in defense. I don't want to get hit.
Yeah.
But I'm in this sport.
Despite Canelo's bold claims, Mike Tyson voiced his disapproval of a potential Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez matchup, citing the significant weight disparity as a major concern. Tyson stated that while Crawford is highly skilled, he's had close fights in the past, and stepping up to face a much bigger Canelo could be a mismatch. For Tyson, the size difference is too great to overlook, making it a bout he's not particularly interested in seeing.
What do you think about Terence Crawford calling out Canelo?
You know, I don't like that fight.
Why not?
I don't like that fight. It's just too much weight, you know. And he had a close fight with the last guy he fought, Terence, because this guy was big and he was awkward. He was really awkward. He shouldn't have fought that guy.
On the flip side, legendary trainer Teddy Atlas took a different stance when assessing Terence Crawford, focusing less on names on his resume and more on what truly defines greatness. Atlas argued that Crawford has all the tools of a top-tier fighter, sharp instincts, elite technique, and a championship mindset. While some detractors question whether he's faced enough top-level opposition, Atlas believes Crawford's skill set and mentality are more than enough to pose a serious challenge to someone like Canelo Alvarez.
I just think Crawford's real special. I think Canelo's really good, really good. But I think Crawford is special. I know he hasn't fought the resume everyone wants, but you have that or you don't have that ingredient. I think he has it. I see it. The timing, the instinct, the eyes, the ability to be chilly cold. It's in his desire. It's in his mind. It's in his makeup. It's in his background, where he came from. That there's something about, just like a Sugar Ray Leonard had that something. I like Crawford every bit as much as I did before that Canelo fight, and even more now. That's how much I like him. And we had to give him a minute. Nobody wants to give anyone a minute in this business. You're supposed to be great, you gotta be great every minute. But I gave him a minute to kind of get his feet settled at a new weight class.
In response, Richard Schaefer made it clear that while he respects Terence Crawford's accomplishments and wouldn't take anything away from him, he believes Canelo Alvarez is simply in a different league. Schaefer emphasized that Canelo's size, experience, and resume place him on another level.
Crawford had a few good wins, but when you look at his wins and you compare them to Canelo wins, I mean, we've got to be honest, you know. Again, I don't want to take nothing away from Crawford. He's a hell of a fighter, but Canelo is a different league. I mean, that's just a fact. And that's why I think he has all these fans and these followers, and he's going to continue to make history.
However, Oscar De La Hoya acknowledged that Canelo Alvarez may be starting to show the effects of wear and tear, noting that even the greatest fighters cannot escape the passage of time. However, he still sees a potential showdown with Terence Crawford as a highly competitive fight. While it's a close call in his eyes, De La Hoya leans slightly toward Canelo, citing the weight and size advantage as the deciding factor.
It's a tough one because we can all see it. Canelo's declining. We can see it because Father Time just catches up to you. That's just the name of the game, the nature of the beast, right? Crawford, I mean, he's the same age as well, you know? 37. Different types of lifestyles, different styles. You know, Canelo's getting into some wars now, which kind of like chips away at the block, you know? Do I favor him over Canelo? I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 fight at this point, given where they're at their careers.
But if you had to give somebody 1%.
Last one here.
1%.
1%, I would go with Canelo. Yeah, just because of the weight factor.
From another perspective, Sergio Mora weighed in on Canelo Alvarez's recent career decisions, stating that Canelo has evolved into more of a businessman, a natural shift for a major pay-per-view star. Mora explained that when fighters reach that level, it's common for them to become more selective with opponents, pointing to past icons like Mike Tyson, Floyd Mayweather, and Oscar De La Hoya, who did the same. In his view, if you look at Canelo's fight list, you will see great winning streaks and a great title holder.
I think he's more of a businessman than a boxer, but that's what happens when you're a pay-per-view star. I mean, if you look back at all the big stars, I mean, if I go back to Mike Tyson in the 90s when he got out of jail, you know, he was selective with his opponents. Oscar De La Hoya, in between the monsters that he fought, you know, he had guys like, you know, David Kamau and Patrick Carpentier and many others. So I just think Canelo's taking a page from that book. There's still solid names on the resume. So when you look at the name, you know, 20 years from now, you're just going to see an undefeated record and the fact that he was a title holder.
He went further to emphasize that when a fighter has been in the game as long as Canelo Alvarez, becoming selective with opponents is a natural progression. He stressed that this privilege wasn't handed to Canelo. It was earned through years of excellence, championship reigns, and high-level performances. According to Mora, Canelo's ability to choose his fights is a testament to his greatness and the legacy he's built, something only elite fighters achieve.
They're still former champions or champions with excellent resumes. And yeah, they're calculated risks now. But whenever you're that long in the tooth, like Canelo, with over, you know, he's 35 years old with well over 65 fights as a professional, I just think he earned that right. He earned that right to be picking and choosing whoever he wants to fight at this stage of his career. And if selected right, in the right areas, on the right date, you know, at the right time, I think fans are going to support him. Fans are always going to support stars, pay-per-view stars, and they always will, because it's a rite of passage that these fighters get.
Supporting this viewpoint, Chris Mannix stated that fighters who have achieved what Canelo Alvarez had achieved long ago have earned the right to be selective with their opponents. He emphasized that Canelo didn't just earn that privilege through titles, but because, regardless of who he faced, he consistently generated massive paydays, a rare ability that only a handful in boxing history have matched.
Yeah, I think earned is the operative word there. And I think fighters that have accomplished what Canelo has accomplished have earned the right to be selective with their opponents. And like you said, it's not an original career strategy. I mean, we saw it very recently with Floyd Mayweather, who also earned the right to pick and choose who he fought.
However, not everyone agrees. Sean Zettel criticized Canelo Alvarez's fan base for enabling the current situation, arguing that they became so threatened by David Benavidez that they started downplaying and discrediting him just to let Canelo avoid the fight. Zittel rejected the idea that Canelo earned the right to pick and choose opponents, stating that this mindset doesn't hold up in any sport where true competition demands facing the best challengers.
I've said it, I've spoke the truth and I just let everything play out. Like, I feel good about it. But Canelo, his fans enabled this situation. They felt so threatened by Benavidez that they downplayed him, called him a bunch of names, discredited him, so that Canelo can be enabled to do what he wants. Canelo earned the right to do what he has to do. Again, it doesn't work like that in any other sport. Tom Brady still has to play Mahomes. LeBron still has to play Anthony Edwards and get bounced in the first round. Get your old first round then if you're not that guy no more.
Yeah.
The game waits for nobody. But they love Canelo, they love Canelo, they love Canelo. And this goes for Crawford's fans too. This goes for any fans that their fandom grows to a toxic point where they enable bad behavior for the sport, right? If and maybe when he loses to Terrence Crawford in September, you'll regret that you enabled that. Because if you would have just let Canelo lose to the bigger, younger, Mexican fighter, then now you'd have a new Gallo to get behind, a new fighting rooster to get behind. Okay.
I feel it's worse losing to Crawford than it is to Benavidez, where you could have.
If you lose to Benavidez, you did the right thing. Hey, I handed the torch. I gave the young guy a shot. I gave him I'm a true warrior. I fight anybody. You lose Crawford, it's like that was a cash grab you went for because you didn't want to fight Benavidez. And for I to a lesser degree, because the Boots fight was never as demanded as the Canelo Benavidez fight. I feel the same way with Crawford and Boots.
Yeah, you said that too.
Adding a layer of strategic insight, Sean Porter raised concerns about whether Terrence Crawford can withstand Canelo Alvarez's power over a full 12 rounds. He suggested that Canelo may come out aggressively, looking to wear Crawford down early, a smart tactic considering Canelo has recently shown signs of fatigue in the later rounds. For Porter, Crawford's durability and ability to adapt will be key if the fight ever materializes.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down. You know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam. But, you know, there's so many components that make a champion. There's so many components that make a great, a legend. It's just so much to go into. It's a conversation that lasts an hour easily when we talk about all of the components that Terrence Crawford has, all of the components that Canelo have, and how we find how they even out and who trumps one another, you know what I mean?
Canelo Alvarez is not just a champion, he is a global force whose legacy and financial success rival the legends of boxing. With talk of historic matchups and fierce debates about his next opponent, Canelo remains at the center of the sport's biggest conversations. Whatever happens next, his impact on boxing is undeniable. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss a beat, and we'll see you in the next video with more exciting boxing news and highlights.